Welcome to January 4th, 2016. It's the start of a new year, the start of a new cinema cycle. It's going to be a rainy week this week, and I can hear a barn owl hooting in the darkness outside. Interesting. Hey, random media generator. A Man for All Seasons. Laserdisc. I actually have two copies of this. One is a latter film that was probably done in the 90s. This is the one that was done in the 60s. I believe it's the more well-known version. And I have not seen this movie. I know what it's about. Sir Thomas More, Henry VIII, blah, blah, blah. Period piece. I expect to see some really good English thespian acting this morning. Evidently, back in Edwardian England, or prior to that, they got around by boat a lot, which I know actually is pretty true. They had people that would row you around the rivers, mostly the Thames, and that was your basic taxi. You didn't take a horse if you were royal. You took the boat. So far, a very competent piece. This actually did win an Academy Award for Best Picture back, I think, in 1966, so it's bound to be good. The period piece feel of the movie is very good. Yeah, this is like the really old Downton Abbey. So, this almost borders on Shakespeare as far as their manner of speech. It's the kind of movie you have to really listen to because they say a lot here, but they say it very eloquently. The other thing that just really strikes you here is the period time of this piece and how they portrayed it. And I'm pretty sure this is really dead-on accurate as far as how it was back in England in the time of Henry VIII. The thing you notice is that they wear these huge robes. They don't have coats per se back then. Coats hadn't really been invented yet. And yeah, they're just these huge flowing, almost Greek-like robes, but they're made out of wool and they're dyed various colors. And they almost look like they're wearing curtains almost. But you can see, yeah, if you didn't have any other kind of protection against the weather, you basically wore a house wherever you went. So, very interesting way of living. That and a lot of rowboats. So, of course, this all comes down to Thomas More being executed by Henry VIII because he won't sanction his marriage to his bastard wife so he can have a child. Gotta love British royalty. But what this whole film basically is, it's a legal case. And it gets extremely in-depth into the wording of how things are done and how oaths are taken and how loyalties lay based on what you do or what you say. And the ending scene, which is the trial of Thomas More, is interesting to note because it's actually, you can see it's got similarities to current court systems that we have now, but it's also very theatrical and very out in the open, and it's you know, the audience or the people in the gallery sit there and cheer and whoop when somebody does something interesting. So it's like half court, half football game. Well, the credits, they be a-rollin'. So, Man for All Seasons, according to Halliwell's Film Guide, is Sir Thomas More opposes Henry VIII's divorce, and events lead inexorably to his execution. Irreproachable film version of a play which has had its narrative tricks removed, but stands up remarkably well. Acting, direction, sets, locations, and costumes all have precisely the right touch. Mr. Zimmerman, who is the director, has crystallized the essence of this drama in such a pictorial terms as to render even its abstractions vibrant. Oh yeah, who writes stuff like that anymore? A beautiful and satisfying film, the ultimate demonstration, perhaps, of how a fine stage play can be transcended and, with integrity and inspiration, turned into a great motion picture. And also, subnote, reports indicate that Charlton Heston badly wanted the role of Sir Thomas More. Won Best Picture. I know that later on, when they remade this, Charlton Heston did play Sir Thomas More. So, off for another year of Cinema Cycle. Thanks for stopping by.